Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the the April 7th, 2020. We had a long meeting in there. The April 7th, 2026 meeting of the Maplewood Township Committee. Sorry for the delay. We had some legal matters to address inside. I'm going to read the open statement, and then we will start. And when we get to the salute to the flag, we'll also have a moment of silence, and I'll mention that at that time. Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by mailing the annual notice of regular meetings for 2026 to the News Record and Star Ledger in December 2025, and by filing said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Ms. Adams?
Here.
Ms. Collins-Colding?
Here.
Mr. Daffis?
Present.
Ms. Herman?
Here.
Mayor DeLuca.
Here.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires that all meetings of public bodies be open to the public, and whereas Section 7A provides that the governing body has the discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public in any meeting, and whereas desire of the governing body to comply with the provisions of this act, same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner, now therefore be resolved by the Township Committee, Township of Maplewood, that it does hereby prohibit, except as set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in deliberations of the governing body by the public, except as otherwise prescribed by law, does limit the public to the observations of the actions and discussions of the governing body at all of its regular and special meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins-Colding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca.
Yes, thank you. We're going to have a moment of silence tonight for Emily H. Bibbins, a longtime Maplewood resident who passed away recently. She was employed by the Maplewood Library for 10 years. Emily and her husband, Charlie, were enthusiastic Maplewood volunteers for much of their lives. So we will do the salute to the American flag, and please remain standing for a moment of silence for Emily Bibbins.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And a moment of silence for Emily Bibbins. Thank you. Thanks for coming out tonight. We have some special presentations and proclamations. We're going to do a proclamation for Autism Acceptance Month, an Arab American Heritage Month, and CASA of Essex County proclamation. We then will have public comments on agenda items. We'll have our monthly Board of Health meeting. And we have an ordinance on final passage for fees for the pool. We have an ordinance on final passage for a bond for DeHart Park, an ordinance establishing an accounting position in the finance office, and then we have an introduction of an ordinance on permits related to consumption in public areas, and then outdoor dining, and lastly, an ordinance on a cap bank. So we will be introducing those ordinances. The next up is administrative reports, and then we have the introduction of the 2026 budget, and that'll take a while. We'll have a few statements and a few explanations. We'll have reports from elected officials, administrative reports, and then discussion items. We'll be talking about some changes to zoning, volunteer incentives at the pool, prohibiting declared candidates from appearing on promotional videos of the township within 45 days of the election. We're going to be removing the cannabis ordinance, possible zoning changes. We won't be discussing that tonight. We then have our consent agenda, and then we'll have our second public comment period, which is on any subject matter, and then we will adjourn. So at this point, I'm going to ask Deputy Mayor Herman if she would go down to the podium and invite folks up for the Autism Acceptance Month proclamation.
Thank you. Please join me at the podium for those who are here for the Autism Acceptance Month
proclamation.
It's on now.
Mayor and members of the Township Committee, I want to welcome my friends to the podium. We have member of our All Access Committee, Mary Beth, who helped with the proclamation, and her family. And we have the owners of Words, one of our community small businesses, with their family. And we have some other individuals who have joined us. Thank you. I'm going to start reading the proclamation, and then I'd like for those who would like to join and also read parts of it. So, my glasses. So this is a proclamation for Autism Acceptance Month. Whereas approximately 1 in 29 children in New Jersey and 1 in 31 nationally are diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum, according to the CDC. And whereas autism is a difference in brain development that impacts how people learn, communicate, interact, and behave, and results in a spectrum of abilities and challenges. And whereas misconceptions persist regarding individuals on the autism spectrum, including long-standing gender biases that have contributed to the underdiagnosis of girls and women. And right here.
Whereas campaigns to recognize autism awareness have been advocated for by the Autism Society of America, Autism New Jersey, and the United Nations for decades. In recent years, advocates have emphasized that awareness alone is not enough, and that true inclusion requires acceptance, leading to the adoption of Autism Acceptance Month to reflect the importance of embracing and including the whole of the spectrum.
You want to read the next one?
And whereas our understanding of autism continues to evolve, from how it is represented in media to how individuals identify, whether as autistic persons or persons with autism, reflecting a broader commitment to the diversity within the autism community.
Would you like to read?
Yeah, actually, I would, okay. Thank
Right
you.
here.
Whereas the Autism Society of America's 2026 theme of celebrating differences encourages our community to recognize the value neurodiversity, affirming that the varied ways individuals think, communicate, and experience the world strengthen our shared community. And
Jonah, do you want to read, or you want to read? It's right here. Whereas
Whereas the Township of Maplewood strives to be a community that does not ignore differences, but instead embraces them, fostering an environment where all people, regardless of ability or experience, belong and are welcomed, respected, and supported. And whereas municipal governments have a role to play in ensuring autism-friendly law enforcement agencies, sports and recreation opportunities, and housing to promote safety, inclusion, and meaningful community participation for individuals with autism.
I have one last for you.
Whereas, as Maplewoodians, we are called to move beyond tolerance to practice acceptance and to extend grace, understanding, and inclusion to all.
Now therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Malia Herman, Deputy Mayor of the Township of Maplewood, on behalf of Mayor Vic DeLuca and the rest of the Township Committee, do hereby proclaim April as Autism Acceptance Month in Maplewood, and encourage residents, businesses, community members to celebrate the differences, promote inclusion, and continue building a community where everyone is valued and has the opportunity to thrive. I want to thank you guys for coming tonight. This is important. Visibility is important, and I'm so happy that you were there. I want to invite if anyone wants to share any other words. If you want to say anything?
Yes, the one thing I just would like to say is that one of the things we have is a not-for-profit that focuses on working with the staff and the professionals who work in group homes for people with autism and other intellectual disabilities. We get to hold this once in a while at the Maplewood Library. And in fact, we're using the Victor Luca room on Thursday for this, and when Nancy Adams was Mayor Adams, she came and visited us and actually spoke to the group, which is a very important group of people who support, these adults who live in group homes. Maplewood is a home to many different group homes, and we really thank and value the work that Maplewood does in that space. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm also the chair of the Autism Science Foundation, and we're moving to having a greater understanding and appreciation of profound autism. And we have a few individuals here today who meet that description, and we're grateful to you for including them in this proclamation and day. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. We're so honored to have you all here. Can we take a photo together?
Sure.
Here.
Let's go down.
John, you should. Yes.
We got to get the short people like us.
Yes.
That's his name. Okay, we have a proclamation, Arab American Heritage Month by Committeewoman Adams.
Thank you, Mayor. This is for National Arab American Heritage Month. Whereas, for over a century, Arab Americans have made valuable contributions to virtually every aspect of American society in medicine, law, business, education, technology, government, military service, and culture. And whereas since 2017, National Arab American Heritage Month has been observed each April to recognize and celebrate the history, culture, and contributions of Arab Americans. And whereas there are nearly 3.5 million Arab Americans in the United States, according to the Arab American Institute, and New Jersey has one of the highest concentrations of Arab Americans in the country, with over 112,000 residents identifying as Arab, which is about 1.2% of the state's population. And whereas the 2026 theme for Arab American Heritage Month, Many Voices, One Community, reflects the richness and diversity of Arab American identities while emphasizing the shared values, experiences, and unity that strengthen our community as a whole. And whereas, despite these contributions, the Arab American community has historically faced misconceptions, stereotypes, and prejudice, underscoring the continued importance of awareness, understanding, and inclusion. Now, therefore, I, Nancy Adams, Township Committeewoman for Maplewood, and on behalf of Mayor Victor Luca and the rest of the Township Committee, do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Arab American Heritage Month in the Township of Maplewood, and encourage all residents to learn more about Arab American history and heritage, to celebrate the diversity within our community, and to take this opportunity to engage with and appreciate the many voices that together form our wonderful shared community. Thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, we have a proclamation, CASA of Essex County, and that's going to be Committeewoman Collins Colding.
Thank you, Mayor. This is especially special to me. I was a foster mother of 20 children, and for about 15 years, and I worked with CASA people all the time, advocating for children, and I adopted my last two children out of DCF. So this is really special for me. So thank you for having me do this. So I'm going to be reading today the proclamation of CASA of Essex County. Whereas court-appointed special advocates, CASA of Essex County was founded in 1986 as the first CASA program in New Jersey, pioneering a model in which trained volunteers advocates for children in foster care due to abuse, neglect, or abandonment. And whereas CASA Essex works to ensure that every child's voice is heard in court and that each child receives the services and support needed to thrive and find a safe, permanent home. And whereas its volunteers, ordinary citizens doing extraordinary work, have stood beside thousands of children across Essex County, providing stability, compassion, and advocacy during some of the most challenging times in their lives. Whereas CASA Essex leadership and commitment have strengthened the justice system, inspired the creation of CASA of New Jersey, and set a lasting standard for community-driven children advocacy and care. And whereas the Township of Maplewood recognizes the volunteers, staff, and partners whose dedication continues to make a meaningful difference for Essex County's and its most vulnerable youth. Now, therefore, I, Jane Collins Golding, Township Committee woman, on behalf of the Maplewood Township Committee, do hereby recognize, commend CASA of Essex County for its unwavering service to children and family throughout our community. And furthermore, the Township of Maplewood encourages residents interested in supporting this mission to learn more and begin the volunteer process by visiting www.casaessex.org/volunteer or contacting info@casaessex.org. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're now going to go for our first public comment period on agenda items only. Is there anyone in the room who would like to speak on an agenda item? Seeing no one, we'll go to Zoom. Is there anyone on Zoom who would like to speak on an agenda item?
If any members of the public joining on Zoom would like to speak on any agenda item, please raise your hand. I see no hands, Mayor.
Thank you. We will close that first public comment period. We do have a second one later on any subject. We'll now move into our Board of Health meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll read the opening statement. Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231 of Public Laws of New Jersey, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by mailing the annual notice of regular meetings for 2026 to the News, Record, and Star Ledger in December 2025, and by filing said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Ms. Adams?
Here.
Ms. Collins Golding?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Here.
Ms. Herman?
Here.
Mr. Daffis?
Present. All
Whereas
right.
Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires that all meetings of public bodies be open to the public. And whereas Section 7 provides that the Board of Health has the discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public at any meeting, and whereas it's the desire of the Maplewood Board of Health to comply with the provisions of this Act, same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner, now therefore be it resolved by the Maplewood Board of Health, Township of Maplewood, that it does hereby prohibit, except as set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in the deliberations of the Board of Health by the public, except as otherwise prescribed by law, does limit the public to the observation of the actions and discussions of the Board of Health at all of its regular and special meetings.
Moved.
Second.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Golding?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes. I move the approval of our last Board of Health meeting minutes on March 3rd.
Second.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Golden?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes. Thank you, Clerk Fritzen, and we will turn it over to our Health Officer. Good evening and welcome, Health Officer Davenport.
Good evening, everyone. I'll move on to the first slide, where I am so happy to announce that the Maplewood Health Department has now moved into the new building of 129 Boyden Avenue as the Maplewood Health Department and Community Support Center. So we are so excited to be in this new space and really just show the commitment of the Township of Maplewood to the health of the community and public health in general. What we'll be offering there is just an expansion of our health screenings, clinics, both rabies, vaccinations for dogs and cats, as well as for vaccinations for children and adults, and free summer meals for kids. Just a few things that we are going to hopefully expand to provide to more people in the future. We look forward to partnering with all of these people. Look at that. On April 25th, Saturday, please be at the Hart Park for the Community Health Fair. It is a two-town health fair, first time that we're doing it this year. And we'd like to thank all of our partners. We have over 40 partners, and it keeps increasing. So people just want to be at our event, and we will have a really great time. We'll have health screenings. Mammogram screenings will also be available from University Hospital, stroke and risk assessments, glucose screening, and nutrition education and blood pressure screenings as well. There'll be free food and activities. There will also be a sensory activation vehicle provided through the South Orange Police Department in recognition of autism acceptance at this event. There will also be, I just want to highlight, the Maplewood Police Department and their collaboration with Easy Ride for the free bike rodeo for children. So it's free bike lessons for kids ages 5 and up. And you could just scan the QR code to register. And just want to say thank you to Department of Community Services for allowing us to use that space for the parking lot and the basketball court for the bicycle rodeo, which will be great fun. Thank you. University Hospital also provided us with a QR code if you'd like to register for the mammography free services that will be at the health fair on April 25th. So hope people will register. On the next slide, we have our nursing and health screenings update. Just to let you know that in April, our public health nurse, Suzette, is going to be at the Baird Community Center on April 10th. She'll be at the Maplewood Senior Center for our seniors on April 14th from 10 to 12. And she'll be providing health screenings at the Maplewood Senior Citizens Residence on April 17th. She does these screenings on a rotation every month, so hope people will join us there for blood pressure, cholesterol screenings, hemoglobin screenings, and glucose screenings as well. To give you an update on our RSV, influenza, COVID-19, all of our respiratory diseases, we are gladly saying that we are coming out of that season. While some people are still experiencing some colds and possibly allergies, our COVID-19, influenza, and RSV cases are decreasing. On to our next slide. For the month of March, our nurse investigated 8 cases. She provided 20 health screenings to our senior citizens, and to our Employee Wellness Day, which we had last Thursday, we had 22 health screenings for our employees and 42 attendees for our Employee Wellness Day. And for that, I'd like to say thank you to Robert Wood Johnson Barnabas, who provided the health screenings, as well as to all of the other partners that we had, like MHA, as well as the Essex County Cosmetology Group that also provided some skin treatment for our employees, and to a local massage center that also provided some wellness for our employees too. The number of schools she audited and re-audited were 12, and the number of students audited for immunizations was 649. Moving on to our environmental health update. This is the data for February and March. So our health inspector Mickens inspected the 27 restaurant inspections and did some follow-up re-inspections. He also inspected some childcare centers and addressed some complaints and provided some notice of violations. Just to note, those 2 animal bites and bat exposures are a culmination of cases from January to March. Moving on to our animal control update, we had about 20 total cases, and most of them were wildlife. I do want to mention that when people get their license for their dogs and cats, it does help to pay for all of these support services like taking care of strays, the enforcement, the bat bites, the testing. So we really do appreciate when everyone does get their dog and cat license because it really does help the whole community. And just to let you know, as of April 7th, we have 591 dogs licensed and 85 cats. At the end of December of last year, we had 796 dogs and 127 cats. So please encourage your neighbors to please get their dog and cat license so we can really continue to provide good services to all those in need. One of the things that was mentioned at the last meeting was questions about wild animals. So we just wanted to provide some information. This is our website below the raccoon, where you can find information on wildlife. So on the next slide, here's phone numbers for the DEP, or the Department of Environmental Protection. If you have any questions, it's a 24/7 hotline. And the New Jersey Department of Agriculture for sick or dead domestic birds. As you might have heard, recently in Verona, they had a case of lots of dead geese in one of their parks. So they're doing an investigation on what the cause of that might be, but we are suspecting that it's avian flu for those. So if anyone sees any sick or dead domestic birds, please do not touch them and just contact that phone number for more information. Moving on to our social services and mental health. This is for the month of March. Our total number of cases is 37. This is an increase from where we have been, which is a good thing, and something we're closely monitoring. We're working more closely with our school district, and that's been a really good thing. They've been calling us, referring to us, asking us for guidance and advice on cases. And we are happy to oblige and just really happy for that partnership that has grown over the years. And then we had 5 co-responses, 21 follow-ups, because some cases just need a little bit more assistance. And then walk-ins and other calls were 11. So we're keeping busy with the crisis social workers. So I want to thank Martha and Dina for that. Moving on to, we always like to emphasize our partnership with CSP&J, who will be presenting next month. It's already been another year of their grant program. So they'll be presenting next month on their services for homeless outreach and engagement. But they also provide, as always, on Saturdays at the library, at Hilton Branch Library, from 11 to 1, free social services and assistance for online help. Lastly, we always end with the Make the Right Call banner, just to let people know that these services are available 24/7. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Are there any questions for our health officer from the Township Committee?
How'd you like your new digs?
Love it.
Yeah, congratulations on the move. We're really excited about what we can do there to continue providing substantial community mutual aid.
Yes.
So I'm really, really pleased about that. I just want to underscore that some of the, if we can go back to the slide that shows the free social services assistance on Saturdays at the Hilton branch of our library. I want to just highlight a couple of things there that I think people may not be aware of. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We make this available to the public on our website. We publish the report that you give each month. Yeah, that's the slide right there. Thank you. Whoever is doing that, Amari or Mr. Administrator over there, thank you. Okay, so, there's a lot of assistance available. There's rental and utility assistance, documentation assistance, birth certificates, all kinds of things, Social Security cards, legal aid assistance. I can tell you from my work, my statewide work, there is millions and millions of dollars in utility assistance right now that is not being tapped. And you'd be surprised, it's not only available to very low or low income households, it's also available to middle and moderate income households. So many folks in Maplewood who might be experiencing, some utility insecurity should reach out and find out about this, because there's a lot of money that is available that is not being used. The federal government would love to take that money back and use it for other inappropriate purposes. And there's some mental health information, which I think is really important to also underscore, because as you've said before, reported before, Health Officer Davenport, we are experiencing a mental health crisis, especially among our young adults. So we really want people to get that information, and we provide the information in a welcoming and discreet manner for those who seek it, right?
Confidential. And also, you mentioned young adults, but I also want to emphasize it's also there for their caregivers as well. We really emphasize the family unit and dynamic, so we really want everyone to know that these services are available to everyone.
Terrific. So I'm going to invite the public now to address the Board of Health. Is there anyone who's here present who would like to do so? Come on up. Welcome, Mr. Humer. I don't need to tell you the process. You know it.
David Humer, 26 Nelson Place. And before I talk about what I came here to talk about, the governor's budget for 26 cuts money to CASA, and it's below the state's typical contribution of a third. So I would urge you to use your platform. The CASA Association is advocating a return to $4.175 million, and it's a public health issue. So I feel if you can use your platform to get that money back in the budget, you do an enormous amount of good. I'm actually here in my role as one of the members of the Prospect Presbyterian Church Mental Health Ministry. And this was an outgrowth of a sliding scale counseling service run by a man named Reverend Ross Warfield, who, besides being a Presbyterian minister, was also a licensed clinical social worker and did sliding scale mental health counseling for years at the church. And he retired and he left us a small pot of money. And we have done a couple informational sessions. We've offered caregiver relief services to members of the congregation, but we are eager to partner with the Board of Health and with Ms. Davenport on any issue, and I just wanted you to be aware of that. We have 4 or 5 dedicated volunteers, 4 or 5 people who are willing to help with different issues, variety of expertises. We have places to meet, and we have a small amount of money we can contribute. So I just want you to be aware.
That's terrific. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that very important resource at this moment in time. Maybe we can include that when we send out information about all of these resources that are available, and put it on our website as well. Any other member of the public here live? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Wary, do we have anyone online who would like to address the Board of Health?
If anyone on Zoom would like to address the Board of Health, please raise your hand. I see no hands.
Okay. No further discussion from the public. I move that we adjourn.
I just wanted to raise one thing. It's Friday. I am speaking at Eliminate Tobacco Use Summit. And this is really an invitation that we got because in 2012, we were one of the first municipalities to ban smoking in public parks and public buildings. And then we followed it up last year with the no smoking at outdoor cafes. So I'll be relaying those stories.
That's great. Where is this being held?
Brookdale College.
Wonderful. Anything else? Any more comments, remarks, notices? All right, that's a wrap then. I move that we adjourn and meet again on May 5th.
Second.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Colding?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And turning it back over to you,
Thank you.
Mayor.
We have an ordinance on final passage.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance on final passage. Ordinance number 3188-26 is an ordinance to amend Chapter 123 of the Code of the Township of Maplewood entitled Fees with Respect to the Municipal Pool. This ordinance will amend membership fees for the Maplewood Community Pool.
This ordinance has been published has been published on the Township website, copies posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and copies made available to the general public in accordance with the law. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this ordinance dealing with fees of the pool? Seeing no one, is there anyone online?
If anyone joining on Zoom would like to speak on this ordinance, please raise your hand. I see no hands.
Seeing no one, we will close the hearing, and can we get a motion, Deputy Mayor?
I move this ordinance to be adopted as a whole and the clerk be directed to post the same as a passed ordinance on the township's website and town hall bulletin board according to the law.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Golding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes, thank you. And we have another ordinance on final.
Yes, Mayor, it's Bond Ordinance 3189-26. Bond ordinance providing for the Dehart Park Rehabilitation Project in and by the Township of Maplewood in the County of Essex, New Jersey, appropriating $3,150,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3 million in bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof. This ordinance appropriates $3,150,000 for the Dehart Park Rehabilitation Project and authorizes the issuance of $3 million in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof.
Thank you. This ordinance has been published, copies on the Township website, copies posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and copies made available to the general public in accordance with the law. Is there anyone in the room who would like to speak on this ordinance? Seeing no one, is there anyone online?
If anyone joining on Zoom would like to speak on this ordinance, please raise your hand. I see no hands.
Thank you. Before I ask for an introduction, Mr. Weary, could you talk about the maintenance and management plan that was distributed, the draft plan that was distributed last night, and any other information that you have about the requests from the Township Committee about more information on how it's going to be maintained and managed going forward?
Sure.
And the cost.
Thank you, Mayor. Circulated to the Township Committee was a draft plan from the professionals that are designing this field with information on the maintenance and the management. So the maintenance portion of it's a detailed report identifying specific actions such as aeration, overseeding, watering that will need to be undertaken to ensure that the field itself performs at a high level, given the amount of play that we have on it. And the management report is a report that identifies usage and lining guidance, and how to rotate the fields through proper lining and proper usage so that we can maintain a high level of play. And that includes resting some portions of the field at certain times. And that was also anticipated in the design in that there's multiple playing areas now on this field. The report, like I said, it's still in a draft form. It is currently being reviewed by the township engineer, our superintendent of public works, and our director of community services, and we'll work with our professional to finalize that. I welcome any comment from the township committee directly to me if you have any input on that or looking for some more information on that. The professional is also working on a drainage report that was requested by the public and the Township Committee that will look at some peak runoff volumes and discharge. We've made a commitment that the field will result in no greater increase to runoff into the stormwater system, and we want to show that through an analysis performed by our professionals, and that will be provided to you. Separate from these reports, we've also provided, on request, information about what we expect to be the annual maintenance costs for the field. We have our professionals put together, based on these, the maintenance plan, what they expect our annual costs will be. Total, they expect it to be around $75,000, and that's for the watering, aeration, seeding. Some of those things we currently do in-house, but we may choose to contract that out with the new field. Some of those are also costs that we already incur. So we already incur costs for watering, though the watering plan may result in higher costs for watering. We already do fertilizing and seeding and aeration, though the new field will likely require some more of that than what we're currently doing. And so that information has been circulated as well.
Any questions for Mr. Ware?
Yes, I have several questions.
Please.
So I'm concerned about this. We've been talking about having the maintenance plan for this field, a realistic maintenance plan for this field, for quite some time, right? And we recognize the timeline here for the bond, and I appreciate that. So the maintenance plan that we got last night, which is voluminous at 10 p.m., we have not, it has not been assessed or evaluated by DPW or community services yet, correct?
That's in process now.
That's in process now, but we have to take this vote tonight, right?
It is on the agenda for vote tonight. Yeah.
Sure. Is this a supermajority vote tonight for the bond?
It's a question for the attorney, but yes, she has relayed to us that it is required of a supermajority.
Okay. So, and you just relayed some new information we have not received by email or anywhere in writing, which is that the estimated cost of this annual maintenance of this improved field will be in the neighborhood of $75,000. Have we appropriated that in the budget we're about to introduce?
We've appropriated any money that we expect to spend this year, but the field isn't expected to fully come online until next year. So some of that will be next year appropriation. And like I'd mentioned, some of that is money that we already spend year over year on maintaining the existing field.
Right, but
so it's not $75,000 of new money, I guess, is my point.
Right, but the maintenance plan is really extensive to do this correctly.
Yeah.
I'm just concerned that, we made a commitment to the community that we're going to go out and improve this field. We're going to spend all this money to do it. And the concern for me personally is that I don't feel 100% confident that we could produce a field that's not going to end up where we are today, meaning being able to maintain the field properly. We also don't know about drainage. You just reported that as well. That's forthcoming, right?
The full report is forthcoming, that's right.
Yeah. So, Mayor, this is my concern. I don't know if you have any additional information based on knowledge that you may have that the rest of us do not have. But, we are also operating not in a vacuum here. There's also, the context where we're going after folks who are talking about installing artificial turf at Ritzer and saying that we shouldn't do that because it's financially irresponsible and or because we don't have sufficient information for maintenance and or drainage to maintain that field even after we go out and spend a lot of money to put artificial turf there. And I'm concerned that we're doing the same thing with this grass improved field. Does anyone else feel differently? Or anyone else feel the same as me? I'm sure other people feel differently.
I feel differently. I think we've been talking about improving these fields. So my question to this rather new, we've been talking about the field reconstruction for years. Installing artificial turf, from what we heard at Sustainable Maplewood today, is already a heat island part of town, would be environmentally irresponsible. So we went out to try to rebuild this field at the request of athletic student parents mostly, who want, and it's all of us girls' fault for finally having, so we have twice as many kids, right, as when this town was built, who use the fields. So the usage has gone up dramatically, and the sport itself has grown dramatically over the last decade or two. So, but I don't know to I would ask you, what is the alternative? Because what I'm hearing is that 75,000, and I'd like an idea of what the actual number of new money that would cost would be. I think that's an important piece for this, because we already spend on mowing, seeding, fertilizer, all the stuff that we do, not just at DeHart, but in Maple Crest and in Memorial, in all our parks where there's playing fields. So I would ask them, what's the alternative? We just go back and do nothing.
No. I think we should improve the field, but I think we should
Okay.
do so with
Right.
due diligence. And I just think that
Well, I think a 45.
this is a bit rushed right now, for
Yeah.
me anyway.
And I think what I'm hearing is that there's a commitment by the Department of Public Works and Engineering and Administration to follow a plan, which is why they had this drafted up by the engineering firm, to make sure that we have at least a plan, and then it's our responsibility to follow it, whether some of that gets outsourced or some of that is in-house. So what we always lacked before was an exact plan of how to maintain the field. It always was just conversation with, we'll go out to Lincoln Landscaping and they'll take care of it. And for a long time it was because it was built incorrectly. It didn't deal with drainage. It's all clay, like many of our properties are, making it difficult to drain. And then on top of that, there was no construction that helped with that drainage, and that's not the case with this field. Also, there was a commitment by the township then to maintain it in an organic manner, which has proven to be, between the drainage and the usage, not effective enough to maintain it properly. And then there were all sorts of weird things like overwatering and stuff like that. So I think this is a good step, and I think with all the eyes on it, not just from the governing body, but from the public, I think there's motivation by the department and the administration to make sure that this is followed and we do the very best we can. Are you going to be able to play on it all the time? No. And nor should there be an expectation, frankly, that you can play soccer 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 12 months a year. That's not realistic, even for artificial turf, frankly. It's too hot in the summer, and they cancel games for the same reasons that they cancel games when it's too muddy on natural grass. So there is no, unless you make an interior field that you have a roof on, there's not going to be a perfect solution. But personally, I'm satisfied that we're moving in the right direction with the maintenance plan here and the commitment by the township to make sure it's being followed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that.
I want to
I'll
speak as well.
Yeah, can I just follow up? I don't disagree with anything that you said. I think this is a step in the right direction. My concern is the timing of it, because I just think that there are too many questions unanswered and too many unknowns. Deputy Mayor.
So I wanted to point out a couple of things. So we have had a plan before. This isn't the first time. The plans on how to maintain all of the fields have been shared with the Recreation Committee. These existed before, and they haven't necessarily been followed. What I'm saying is this can't be business as usual. We need to do more. We need to do a better job of maintaining our fields. I'm seeing this plan, and I'm not seeing the costs for it. And I know you're saying 75,000, but I'm not really sure how that's all calculated. I don't know if that's something that DPW is going to be able to take over, or if that's something that we're going to have to farm out. I can't see a way around not having a facilities manager like South Orange does that deals specifically and fully in maintaining their fields. I think that we need to go into this with our eyes open. Look, I want to improve fields. That is a priority for me. I want to make the fields in our town better for the athletes who play on them and for all of the families who require this of our town. But I also want to be fiscally responsible about this, and I want to make sure that, we're not, doing everything at the last minute. We've been talking about this field for 2 years before I even joined the Township Committee, and yet we're getting a maintenance plan sent to us at 10 p.m. the night before. And I want to hear what our engineer and our DPW head have to say about this. I want to hear what our community services head has to say about this. I would like to run this by the recreation committee and the fields committee. Like, I'm really having a hard time seeing how we're getting backed into a corner here and told we have to pass this bond if we're going to get this field done this year. And if we don't do this right now, the field's not going to get done in time. Where was all of this? Somebody dropped the ball, and it's not us.
Okay. Ms. Collins-Coling, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I think we've talked about this a lot. I think it's time to move forward and do the work that has to be done. I don't think we need to hire a facility person. I think the point he made was very clear. In putting this money forward to do this field, that would now give us the maintenance money. We can at least look at that as a budget, and we can go back to the drawing board, but we have to put this money aside to be able to do the work that the community is asking us to do. We've done a lot of talking. Now it's actually time to move forward. Because if we start to pedal back and say, well, what are we going to do? What if we hire someone? How much is this field going to cost? We can get the money and we can do the budget. I understand and know this was late, but here we are now. We have to do it. We have to move forward. We just can't go back to the conversations. We just have to pull the trigger and just do it.
So what are we going to do on if we have a maintenance issue on the weekend and we need somebody to address it? What are we going to do? If you read through this plan, it's wild. This plan calls for the field to be rested for 1 to 2 days following every tournament. That's crazy. It calls for us to use one half of the field and then the next week close that field and use the other half of the field. I don't know how on earth we're possibly going to do that. I have not heard from our Department of Community Services on how they're going to accomplish this. Currently, when they close the field, an email goes out. They're not planting flags. They don't have signs. We've asked for it. You know, how are they going to close these fields, and how are we going to keep people who aren't registered users of the fields from coming and using them when they're supposedly rested? I mean, there's a lot of answers that need to be made and how we're going to maintain this. And when we're talking about $3 million of taxpayer dollars, I'm trying to be responsible about it. I want us to have a new field. I really do. I just feel really rushed and not, I don't feel like I have enough answers.
I would say that the design of the field is removing a softball field that was underutilized and rebuilding, and the reason there are 2 fields is so that one could be rested and recuperate from the use.
Yeah,
it's
I
not so you
understand.
can have twice as many tournaments and games. It's so that the fields could be rested without affecting the schedule so as much as it would if it was still just one field.
Okay, so here's where we are. We need 4 votes to move this forward. This needs a supermajority. We have a few options. We could adopt this just the way it is. Everybody feels comfortable, we move forward. We could table this to the next meeting. We lose 2 weeks. Weeks matter because this has to get out on the street for a bid. We have to award it at some point in the next month and a half, 2 months, and then we have to get the work done. Otherwise, the work won't be done in 26. It'll have to go into 27, and we'll have a crappy field for this year and a crappy field for next year. Half of next year. So we have the ability to, we could table it, we could adopt it, moving forward with the bids. We could not award the contract until all these questions
Yes.
are satisfied. So that's where we are. I think that, I met with Mr. Weary yesterday. I don't have any additional information. I said, my understanding was we were supposed to have this plan by the 7th. I think there was some confusion as to when the plan was supposed to be delivered. Anyway, that's why it got out late last night. So I would disagree with you. I think this is a different plan than plans we've had before. I've never seen a plan, a month-by-month plan as to how to address the field, both the topsoil and the soil below.
It is different, yeah.
It is very different. I don't think there's a person up here who disagrees with you about the discontent of the management of fields. Not the maintenance, but the I mean, the maintenance has its own problems, but the management of fields, that has to change completely. And I also agree with Committeewoman Adams that the reason we eliminated the ball field was so that we could create 2 fields that would allow games to go on, sometimes simultaneously, sometimes resting a field and using the other field. So we've expanded the opportunity there by 100% by creating 2 fields, 2 full fields that you can play on, and then many small fields that you can parcel it off. So that was all part of the plan, but it will take management. It will take a seismic change in 2027 to manage that than how we're managing it. And that's our job to work this year to get that in place with the staff that we have.
Yep.
And so, yes, I think I would have liked to have seen this earlier. I read it. I had a little opportunity to read it when it came out, read it late at night. I haven't seen any cost. This is the first time I'm actually hearing the cost. We need that information. I would hope that we could get 4 votes to move this forward. If we don't, I think someone should make a motion to table it. If I hear 3 votes yes, if we don't have a 4th, then we should table and move this to our next meeting, which is April 21st.
If we table to the 21st, does that still keep us within the timeline?
It jeopardizes it.
We've
by
got
how
the
much?
schedule down to 2 weeks.
Because once you, and you could explain this better, it's a bond ordinance, so there's a 30-day
Mr. Mayor?
estoppel period?
20 days.
20-day.
So there's a 20-day period before the ordinance becomes effective, which is specific to bond ordinances. It's different from all your other ordinances. Also adopting the bond ordinance doesn't require you to borrow the money. It authorizes, it allows that period to run. You can cancel the ordinance later, and there will need to be further action to award a contract for the improvement.
Right. So right now, the plan is to close it in June 22nd, I think, and start the work right after, and then have everything planted by October. If we have to go into November, you don't know with the weather. So 2 weeks could actually matter, as we just experienced, swings in the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, but this isn't the final thing. We can still work. We can go back into the engineering committee and drill down with Mr. Kittner and Mr. Haran on how they're going to do this. We can go into Health and Human Services and focus with the director there on how this is going to be managed differently. What do you need, both personnel-wise and equipment-wise, flags, signs? There's a lot of ways you can do this. And I think it's us pushing staff to get this done, because absolutely right. We cannot make another mistake here. This has got to be done right. And we're changing the base of the field from soil to sand to allow proper drainage and proper growth of the topsoil. So we're already making a significant change. We think this is going to work, and we think that we have a plan that if we implement the plan both on the management and the maintenance, we'll be able to maintain it. We need to get better numbers, clearly. It will be effective in the 2027 budget, not the 2026 budget. We'll have to make sure we budget for this, and we'll have to move. That's where we're going to. That's where we're going to go. It's going to be in our hands to work with the staff to get this to work going forward. But here's where we are. We need a 4th vote. If we don't have the 4th vote, then we should move to table it and take it up again in 2 weeks.
So the bond ordinance requires 4 votes, but how about the vote to award the contract?
That's 3.
That's correct. That would be a simple majority.
So
you could potentially move forward with the bond ordinance, not move forward with the contract.
You could, yes.
Yes.
I mean, some places carry bond ordinances on their books for quite a long time before they decide to actually undertake the improvement that it's authorized.
But to be totally honest, the leverage is now.
Right.
You need the 4 votes, because you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You need the 4 votes now, you need 3 votes
I
later.
know.
Yeah, so I understand that. I think there's a matter of trust here.
Yeah.
I don't think there's sides, I don't think there's differences here. I think we're all rowing in the same direction, that we want this field to be done. We want this field to be done right. It's a major investment of money, and when it's built, we want it to be able to maintain and manage it appropriately.
Right.
I think we all agree to that.
Yes.
And I think-
And you said yourself, this is a seismic change in culture, in maintenance culture, and I'm just not convinced, based on my experience here for 8 years, that our staff can do that.
I am concerned that it sounds like discussion of having a facilities person is off the table. That bothers me because I feel
I
like.
don't think it is.
No,
I don't think it is.
Good, all right, that's what
I don't think we've even had that conversation. There's been a couple of opinions expressed, that's all.
And you're saying
And-
that that would go into the 2027 budget?
It would all go in the 2027 budget.
Yeah, and it could be existing staff that has the training, that's interested, but I think that if we're going to have a field that we're spending this amount of money on, we need to manage it, and we need somebody who's going to be on top of it in terms of managing it, and making sure that the maintenance is on schedule. It's a very detailed plan. And, you know, I do continue to have concerns about removing our one lit softball fields. You know, I was just watching my daughter play softball over in South Orange today. Beautiful day for a game, a little cold. And they were at which was the one lit softball field. They now have added lights. They now have 4 lit softball fields by the Baird, 3 more over by the Meadowland. That's 7 lit softball fields they have, and we're getting ready to eliminate our only lit fields. So I would like for us to also take very seriously the conversations about having more lit softball fields. And if it means going door to door with every single person, I am happy to do that.
Okay.
So as a matter of trust, I feel like there are several different elements that we need to all be open-minded and discuss when we say not business as usual. This is a seismic move. We really need to own it and talk about all of these things.
Well, it brings us down to, if we're going to move this, do we have a 4th vote? And that's the question.
If it doesn't give 4 votes, then can we then table it?
You can.
No.
No.
Once we've voted on it,
Oh, then it has to be reintroduced, that's
it would
right,
have to be
that's right.
reintroduced, which is why if there were additional questions.
Yeah, that's why I'm holding off on the introduction.
Right. So you need, right. And, you know, is there support for tabling it? I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, I would vote to table it as opposed to vote it down, so.
Right. So I'll move to table it to the April 21st meeting.
Or is there a second? I'll second it.
So just to clarify for the record, so the motion is to carry the second reading and public hearing of Bond Ordinance 3189 to our next regularly scheduled
Correct.
meeting of April 21st, and no additional public notice would need to be given.
Correct. Okay, call the roll.
Oh,
This is a move to table, is a motion made in second to table.
So, point of clarification, is the tabling, if the tabling vote happens, that means that we're not voting on it tonight?
Correct.
Yep, right. We'll be voting on it at the April 21st. We're not starting over again.
So if the vote was to happen, are you preferring a table, is that what you're saying?
Yes, to get additional information.
What kind of information are you expecting in 2 weeks?
The information we just talked about. The information that supposedly came in the last less than 24 hours. We got like a number about $75,000. Like, by then, we'll also hear from DPW and from Community Services, the information
2
that you
weeks?
said you'd like to have as well.
I would, yes, but I'm also wondering, like, if our schedule is so completely thin that, like, I mean, I gotta say, a $3 million project, and we're down to like 2 weeks is gonna derail it.
Well,
I'm really, I'm really just.
Okay, so look, this is on the table. This is on the table.
There's
So
been a
the question is, does anybody have any more, actually, a table is not even a debatable, where's Michelle Barbara when we need, but table's not even a debatable topic, but I seconded table because I don't want this to fail, and I don't have confidence that we have 4 votes comfortably. So so this means that the motion, that this ordinance would be carried to April 21st. There would be a second hearing, and that would be it. And any information that people have, we would hope to get to them, any information that came up tonight, previously, or subsequent to this meeting, we would hope to get to them before the 21st.
So, and tabling and waiting 2 weeks, we risk the project timeline. And respectfully, it's not that we just have 2 weeks now, or that we just got this 24 hours ago, or less than 24 hours ago, which we did. But the whole maintenance issue has been talked about, but until maybe not the last engineering public works, but the one before that, Ms. Herman, that's when you brought it up as something that could possibly, that all of a sudden we were even doubting that we were going to reconstruct this field until you got a complete maintenance plan. So now we have it, and we have to, trust that our administration and our people are going to be compelled to follow it through. And I think it's unfair to just keep saying we just got it less than 24 hours ago, but this specific request, with the caveat that maybe you weren't going to be in favor of rebuilding this field or jeopardizing a project that we've been talking about for far more than 2 years, is not, I don't think, a very fair thing to put on administration, public works, and the engineers involved, as if now we're suddenly in a rush. We're in a rush if we want to get this field built and ready to be used next spring.
If we are in such a rush, then everybody should have been acting accordingly.
Well, we've been in a rush.
Okay.
Look, there was a motion.
Hold it, time out.
There was a motion and a
Time out.
second.
Time out.
I'm not going to do that.
We have a tabling motion. Please call the roll.
On the table. Ms. Adams?
No.
Ms. Collins Golding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes.
You have
This is-
4 affirmative
This is
votes.
going to be carried till April 21st. Okay, we have another ordinance on final.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 3190-26 is an ordinance to amend table of organization within the Township of Maplewood to establish the position of accounting and revenue specialist. This ordinance will amend the Township's table of organization to establish the position of accounting and revenue specialist and to establish a salary range for the position.
This ordinance has been published on the Township website, copies posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and copies made available to the general public in accordance with the law. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this ordinance about creating a position in the finance office? Anyone online?
If anyone joining on Zoom would like to speak to this ordinance, please raise your hand now. I see no hands.
Can we get a motion?
I move this ordinance be adopted as a whole, and the clerk be directed to post the same as a passed ordinance on the Township's website and Town Hall bulletin board according to the law.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Golding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes, thank you. We have introduction of an ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, we're at item number 10, ordinance number 3191-26 is an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 79, Article 1 of the Code of the Township of Maplewood entitled Consumption in Public Areas to provide for permits related to municipally sponsored events. This ordinance will amend and supplement Article 1 of Chapter 79 of the Township Code to permit the temporary suspension of the prohibition on public consumption of alcoholic beverages within a defined area and for a limited duration in connection with a municipally sponsored event.
I move the passage of this ordinance on first reading, its publication according to law on the Township's website and Town Hall Bulletin Board, and a hearing to be held on April 21st, 2026.
I second this motion.
And just so folks know what this is related, first it's related to the World Cup. We want to have a watch party on Maplewood Avenue. The game starts at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and we want to have people be able to enjoy the game and enjoy some alcoholic beverages out in the public. So that's what this is about. So it's been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Colding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes, thank you. Before we get to the next ordinance, I'm going to ask our Code Committee Chair, Mr. Daffis, if he would explain some of the proposed changes in the outdoor dining. We were not able to discuss this fully as the Township Committee, but it was discussed fully at the Code Committee, and we felt satisfaction that it could be put on the agenda tonight. So,
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. The majority of the Township Committee was present at the Code Committee where we last talked about this. As the public is already aware, we did make a change to the outdoor dining season. It now starts on May 1st and ends on October 15th. The applications are going to go live, in fact, tomorrow, to allow our merchants to apply for outdoor dining this season. So we wanted to get the updated outdoor dining fees introduced tonight. We have communicated the updated proposed fee to the merchants through the Maplewood Village Alliance and through direct communication from the township. What we're proposing here is an increase in the right-of-way occupancy fee from the current $2 per square foot to $5 per square foot. Why would we do this? We're doing it to offset the cost, the upfront costs and labor costs to the township in installing and improving the outdoor dining, the streetery equipment. That includes the platforms, the materials, the planters. The township pays for all of that. Township labor through DPW installs all of that. And this is a fee that would apply to all of the merchants. Some of the merchants don't use the platform because they're in the parking lot. Some of the one merchant at least has their own outdoor dining apparatus entirely. So this is the more equitable approach to increase the right-of-way occupancy fee that applies to all merchants who use the public right-of-way to put in an outdoor dining streetery. So that is the proposal, as I said, approved by the Code Committee at our last meeting. And we know that the majority of the Township Committee was also present there, and they were in favor of this change in fee.
and I'm going to ask you if you're ready to move this, please.
Yes, I would move the passage of this ordinance on.
I'm sorry, we have to read it first. I'm sorry. That's
Oh, yeah, we have to read it first.
Okay. Any questions about the report Mr. Daffis gave? I'm sorry. Let's go to the ordinance 3192.
Mayor, 3192-26 is an ordinance amending Chapter 187 of the Code of the Township of Maplewood entitled Outdoor Dining to revise the streetery program fee schedule. This ordinance will amend Article 3 of Chapter 187 of the Township Code to revise the streetery program fees.
Please.
Okay, so This time around, for real, I move the passage of this ordinance on first reading and its publication according to law on the Township's website and Town Hall Bulletin Board, in a hearing to be held on April 21st, 2026.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Golding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes, thank you. We have another ordinance on introduction.
Yes, Mayor. 3193-26, calendar year 2026, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank under NJSA 40A 4-45.14.
I have to do this. I move the passage of this ordinance on first reading, its publication according to law on the Township website and Town Hall Bulletin Board, and a hearing to be held on April 21st, 2026.
I'll second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Golding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes, thank you. We'll go to administrative reports. Mr. Weary?
I have no report tonight, Mayor.
Anything from Mr. Weary? Ms. Credidio? Ms. Fritzen? Yeah, we know you have.
Mayor. I just want to report that we have a general special election next Thursday, April 16th, at all of our Maplewood polling locations. Polls open 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Yeah, we'll be ready to go on that. And you had asked me at the last meeting, Mayor, 3 weeks ago, when I had an idea, but I wasn't entirely sure with anything in writing. But beginning with the June election, the 3 polling locations here at the Maplewood Town Hall, polling districts 1, 3, and 6, will be moving to the Maplewood Library, and that's something that we proposed, Township governing body proposed, and we have been received permission to relocate starting in June. As far as our election coming up, early voting did begin on April 6th, and our next event after our upcoming election next week is preparation for Memorial Day, the parade, and all the participants that love being in the parade and being part of the ceremony. So that's my report.
Thank you. Just to be clear, districts 1, 3, and 6 for the special election next Thursday will vote here.
That's correct, Mayor.
Okay. And then in June, they will go over to the library.
Yes.
And I have a question, Clerk. There's been some questions about early voting, and I wonder if you could just give us an update. I believe from your previous reports that the polling location has to be established first before you can then apply for it to be an early voting. For example, if it's going to be at the library.
We haven't been granted early voting at this point. We had indicated that we were interested
Correct,
in early
yeah.
voting, but we have not been granted that at no determination at this point. And
So-
that would be for the June election.
Right, but
I don't think that we were told that you had to be in an established place before you could.
oh,
we-
okay, then that's my misunderstanding. So are we seeking to be an early voting place? Because I thought we
We
were.
requested that the decision gets made by the state. And
We actually, Mayor DeLuca was there, and we met with the county, and we gave them a tour of our proposed location, which was Maplewood Library. And, yeah, the state has to make that decision, and we haven't received any notification at this point.
So we've made the application and we're waiting to hear back from the state.
Well, we don't make the application, the county does
Okay.
on our behalf, and they were happy with what we proposed, but there's been no approval.
So we don't know if the county has made the request or not. That's where we're at? I'm just trying to understand where we're
I'm
at.
assuming they made the request because we met with them weeks ago and we did a tour. And they approved our proposal to have early voting at the library beginning for the June election.
That's wonderful. So we're just waiting to hear if the state...
No. Let's be careful with our words. They did not approve anything because the county doesn't approve anything. It's
Right,
the state.
it's wonderful that in June, voters will be able to vote there.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Right, that's going to happen.
And that is wonderful.
Yes.
I'm just asking the status because people are asking.
So we made the request of the county, and the county has to make the request of the state. We cannot make the request of the state directly.
Correct. So what I understand is that the county has made this request.
We don't know that.
We don't know that.
We don't know that.
Okay,
We assume that, but we don't know that.
great.
We have not received anything, correct? We've not received anything that confirms that the county has requested this from the state.
No, we have not.
So we can ask the county.
Yes, and that's what we should do. We should follow up with the county to see if, in fact, that they've made that request on our behalf.
Thank you.
I think we just want to be very careful because we don't want people to say, oh, you said this at a meeting and...
Approved, yeah.
No, it's floating around that it's in process, and sounds like we have some questions to ask, so.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. All right, we're going to move now to the introduction of our 2026 budget, and I would just like to make a couple comments as the chair of the Finance Committee. Tonight, we are introducing our 2026 operating budget for the municipal portion of the property tax. This year, we expect to raise $41.8 million in property tax for the township, which is an increase of 2.95 over 2025. Approximately 70% of the municipal budget is covered by property taxes. As you might know, the property tax bill covers the school district, the municipality, the county, and our municipal library. By far, the school tax is the largest, about 57%. Essex County is at 14%, and the township and library make up about 29%. Crafting an annual budget is not an easy job. It starts with our department heads taking a hard look at each line item. Our finance team evaluated each revenue and expense item. The Township Committee held more than 7 hours of budget meetings, and the Township Administrator presented his budget recommendations. I want to thank all for their hard work on preparing this budget, allowing us to meet the state deadline for introduction, April 7th. A budget is the skeleton of our local government operations. It reflects our values. This budget will allow us to maintain the quality services residents expect from us. It continues funding our homeless services and includes a new allocation to address food insecurity. We've added 26% more funding than required by the state for library services, particularly to open up on Sundays. We also added funds to get our ball fields in better shape for this season. We'll be approving a contract tonight for that. And I'm happy to report that this budget includes $1.5 million in one-time funding that we will be using to pay down the debt. We understand that any tax increase matters to you, and we will continue to look at revenue sources other than property taxes. The 2026 budget is an investment in our community, providing core services while also keeping the township on solid financial footing. We're going to keep looking at this budget. We're going to introduce it tonight, and then we're going to have a hearing. We urge you to come out if you have any questions, contact us. But I do want to thank everyone for their hard work in putting together this budget that we'll be considering tonight. And Mr. Weary and Mr. Niles, Mr. Clements.
I like Niles better.
Well,
than
however,
the last name. Just
Mr.
change it.
Clements, if you would give us your budget presentation.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Township Committee. Good evening, Maplewood Administration. As the Mayor said, we will be introducing the 2026 budget tonight. As it comes on the screen, we'll go through the numbers. You can go to the next slide, Patrick. Thank you. So as the Mayor said, the municipal budget comes in at $62,799,246. That's an increase of $3,210,000 over the 2025 budget. The Mayor mentioned a one-shot revenue of aid that comes in for intergovernmental insurance of $1.6 million. So without that offset, the increase is actually only $1.6 million. The pool budget comes in at $1,579,000. It's up $90,000 from the prior year. Our stormwater budget this year introduces a number of $874,000, an increase of $74,000, $935 over the previous year. The combined budget for the municipal, pool utility, and stormwater utility budget comes to $63,753,226. That's a total increase of $3,376,452.51. What are some of the major drivers of this budget? Relief comes in the form of revenue that's anticipated above what we realized last year. There's an additional $149,000 of UCC revenue, that's Uniform Construction Code, that's building permits that Maplewood received. We also have $255,000 worth of health grants that we're anticipating in this budget, that those health grants help us reduce the amount of salary and wages that we appropriate in our budget. There's also an increase of miscellaneous revenue and surplus. Those increases this year amount to just over $400,000 over the previous year's anticipated amount. Pressure, what is pressure? Additional appropriations that we have in the 2026 budget that were not appropriated in 2025. The shared service for the South Essex Fire Department has increased $367,000. Our salary and wages and pension appropriations have increased $767,000. Our stormwater liability this year is budgeted at $325,000. And that cost of insurance is up for health insurance, other liability insurance, around $668,000. The budget impact. The proposed tax rate for the 2026 budget is 0.67. That's an increase of 0.017 over the prior year's tax rate. The average residential tax in 2026 with the introduced budget comes in at $5,438. That's an average municipal increase of $159 on the average home assessed at $810,000. It amounts to about a 3% increase. The net valuation taxable for this year is $6,232,542,300. As I mentioned, the average assessed home this year is $810,282. That has been increased by $3,127 from the prior year's average assessed home value. The total municipal amount to be raised by taxation, as Mayor DeLuca mentioned, is $41,824,711. That is an increase of $1,198,000, which amounts to a 2.95% increase in municipal taxes. If you can go back really quickly for me, please, Patrick. On the budget drivers form, you'll see the relief came in at $800,000. The pressure, $2.1 million. That difference of $1.3 million is the amount to be raised by taxation. $1.1 million for the municipal portion, and then an additional $100,000 and some change for the library's increase. Thank you, Patrick. You move forward twice now. Estimated taxes, as the mayor said, a large portion of the taxes collected here in Maplewood goes to the school district. We're approximately at $86 million for the school levy this year, which represents about 56% of the total levy. 27% of the levy is municipal, $41 million. $2.1 million is attributed to the library levy. $22 million is attributed to the county. $623,000 will be raised for municipal open space purposes, and $300,000 will be raised for special district. The total estimated taxes to be collected in 2026 is just around $153,444,000. Thank you. This pie chart shows the 2026 revenue. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Thank you. This pie chart shows the 2026 revenue supporting the municipal budget. Again, the municipal budget is $62,799,246. The breakdown, $41 million in local tax, $2 million in library tax. We'll be utilizing $2.9 million of surplus, $14,792,000 of miscellaneous revenue is anticipated in this budget, and receipts from delinquent taxes, we are anticipating $1,135,000. Next tab, please. Revenue supporting the budget. This bar graph just shows the 2025 numbers versus the 2026 numbers. They're pretty spot on. You'll notice the 2026 total miscellaneous revenue is slightly higher than the prior year. Again, that's factoring the $1.6 million of the one-shot revenue for the intergovernmental insurance that's being used to offset our debt service and pay down the library notes. Next slide, please. $2026 appropriations, the budget has to balance. So we have $62,799,000 of appropriations, 34% of which is attributable to salaries and wages, 39% other expenses, 11% for deferred charges. Nothing is budgeted in capital improvement fund. We have capital surplus. Any ordinances that are authorized, the down payment will come from the capital surplus. 13% of this year's budget is attributable to debt service, and 3% is attributable to the reserve for uncollected taxes. Thank you. No, we did that one. Should be one more. This bar graph just shows the the 2026 appropriations versus 2025. Similar to the revenue, they're right on par, no huge increases. The debt service has a big jump of about 24%, but without that $1.6 million, it's only a $44,000 increase. Salary and wages, other expenses, and deferred charges all have nominal increases of about 3%. There was no increase for the reserve for uncollected taxes. This is just a summary of the introduced budget. As the mayor said, we'll have a public hearing on May 5th here to talk about the introduced budget and to look to adopt the budget. Any questions, concerns, comments?
I have a question about the hearing on May 5th. So the public could come and ask questions about the budget, and if we were to make any changes to the budget, how would that affect our adoption process?
Yeah, the public is invited to attend and comment online or in person. And as far as any changes made between today and the final adoption, it depends on the amount and where those changes are made, and I can give you a better description of what the triggers are there.
So it's a 1-10-5 rule. 1%, if 1% of the total budget is changed, then we have to amend. If 1% of the total budget is amended via being changed, then we have to have a second public hearing. If 10% increase or decrease of any line item is changed, then we have to advertise and have another public hearing. And if there's a change of 5% of the total amount to be raised by taxation, if that's changed, then we'll again have to have a second public hearing and advertise again.
So as long as we met those thresholds, if someone came and presented something and the majority of the township committee wanted to make a change underneath those thresholds, we could still move forward.
Yes, sir.
That's helpful. Can you email those thresholds, just so I have that in my knowledge bank? Thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's also not uncommon between introduction and adoption for some changes to be made, both in response to the Township Committee, maybe the public, but also because after today, we send our budget down to the state for their review, and oftentimes they'll come back with some comments and ask us to make changes, and we'll do that. But at the end, we still have to present to you a balanced budget to vote on.
And our deadline for final submission is?
The deadline for adoption is on May 5th.
Thank you.
So we'll submit to the state right after introduction. We'll send it down tomorrow.
And we'll share with the public this presentation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
Anything else? Okay, we have a resolution.
Yes, Mayor. Resolution number 138-26 is introduction of the 2026 municipal budget. And I need to read in full sheet 2, and that is municipal budget of the Township of Maplewood, County of Essex for the fiscal year 2026. Be it resolved that the following statements of revenue and appropriations shall constitute the municipal budget for the year 2026. Be it further resolved that said budget will be published on the official website on April 8th and advertised on the bulletin board, and the governing body for the Township of Maplewood does hereby approve the following budget for the year 2026. And notice is hereby given that the budget and tax resolution was approved by the Township Committee of the Township of Maplewood, County of Essex on April 7th, and a hearing on the budget and tax resolution will be held at Township of Maplewood at the Maplewood Township Committee meeting on May 5th, 2026 at 7:30 p.m., at which time and place objections to said budget and tax resolution for the year 2026 may be presented by taxpayers or other interested parties.
Okay?
Yes, that's your
All
resolution.
right. Ms. Adams, can we get a motion to adopt the resolution?
Chair, I move the adoption of this resolution.
A second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Colden?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Clements, for your presentation.
Mr.
Thank you.
Clements.
I got him.
I thought you said Niles again.
No, you heard that. Can we get a motion to go beyond 9:30?
Move it.
Unfortunately.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Holding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes, thank you. We have reports from elected officials. Deputy Mayor Herman?
Thank you. So I wanted to, again, thank everyone for supporting Autism Acceptance Month. Beyond the proclamation, we are, for our health fair on April 25th, it will be autism acceptance focused. We have the SAV, which stands for Sensory Activation Vehicle, and this will be on campus for the health fair. The SAV is a vehicle that offers a quiet area for individuals who may need that space. And so we're really excited about families being able to come out for the bike rodeo. But if somebody comes out and they need a quiet space, they need to sort of get out of all of the commotion, we have the sensory activation vehicle. It is air conditioned. It has some comfortable seating, and there's some water features, and it's just a really quiet and calming area if you need that. So the reason we're doing that is that the building, we looked at putting a sensory space in the building, and we're going to be using that whole building for screenings. So please come on out. There's a lot of screenings that are going to be taking place. At the health fair, our police department will have a table, and they're going to be there and available to talk about the Blue Envelope program, which we have talked about in the past, which is for autistic drivers to have in their glove compartment. And they're also going to have the special needs registry, and they can talk to parents about it and what that means to be on it. And basically, if it helps the police to know if they are going to a call at a specific house, who might be there, and to have some sensitivity for the people who live there. So they're going to be at the health fair at a table, able to hand out those blue envelopes and talk to residents. And then we're also going to be promoting the blue envelope again throughout the month. And the registry, and then the library is also going to have a table at the health fair, and they're working on some book lists of recommended reading for this month that deals with autism acceptance, books that are either written by an autistic author or who have characters. So just another way to really embrace the theme of the month and learn and move forward. So I wanted to share that. And then Okay, wouldn't be my time to speak if I didn't tell y'all how many days until the pool opens. 46 days. Last time it was 67 days, and I totally missed the opportunity to say 6-7. So it's 46 days. The pool opens on Saturday, May 23rd. But guess what opens tomorrow? Tomorrow, early bird pool passes go on sale. So this is a big deal. You can get your pool passes. And so I have 3 things to say about the early bird pool passes. Number 1, the rates you're going to see go on sale tomorrow are essentially the same as we had in 2012. Rates are going to be really low, 2012. So when we talk about affordability, this is, we've discussed the pool before. It's not a luxury. It is a community pool, an opportunity for our community to come together to enjoy cool waters and convene with the community. And the rates are essentially 2012 rates. So you heard it here first. The second thing is that individual rates, I do want to make a note that individual rates are decreased more than any of the other rates. We had individuals speak at the Township Committee meeting about how they felt the proportion wasn't quite right. And when I looked at the 2012 rates, they were right. So we reduced the individual rates by a bigger proportion to make sure that individuals know that they are welcome to the pool as well. But of course, family rates are the most popular rate, and the thing I want to say about family rates is our family rate for the early bird is going to be $380, and that is pretty darn close to the South Orange family rates. South Orange, their system is a little different, but essentially they have a family max of $350. So we're comparing $380 to $350. It's pretty darn close, guys. I would say that this is a testament to the commitment that the Township Committee has had in making the pool affordable and making it a community pool as it was always intended to be. So tomorrow, get your pool passes. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Committeeman Daffis.
Thanks, Mayor. I have no report.
Committeewoman Adams.
No report.
Committeewoman Collins Colding.
I'll make this quick. From our arts department, arts and culture, on April 18th, we had Hugo and Maxine Gianni, who will have the exhibition at, I think it's going to be at the Woodland, yes. And they have a film screening at night as well, and that's going to be $7. And they have amazing art that they're going to put up in the upstairs area, and that part of it is going to be free. And on the 19th, April 19th, we have Art from the Earth collective exhibition and workshop for Garden State Art Weekend and Earth Day. And April 26th, a Bobby Fest at the Woodland. We have, I don't have the date for that, but that's what I have. Go on the website and look, Arts and Culture
It's the
website.
26th.
It's the April 26th.
Yeah. I think from noon to 5 or something, noon to 4.
The time, yeah. And for our rec, we have all sorts of fun stuff coming up. We have field hockey, flag football, tennis, gym basketball, adult open gym basketball, MAPSO basketball, softball, Parents and Me soccer, Parents and Me multi-sports, T-ball skills, and squirts T-ball, track and field. So it's all on the rec website. So those are a few things that we are offering right now. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you. I have just a few quick items. This Saturday, April 11th, from 10 to 12, will be our Talk to the Township Committee. We'll be at the corner of Baker Street and Maplewood Avenue. And we have confirmation that the new electric jitney will be there. And we will be doing a ribbon cutting around noon. So this will give an opportunity if anybody would like to come and see our new jitney, you'll be able to come on board and check it out. We have 3 of these new jitneys. We'll be implementing it in our jitney runs towards the end of the month, beginning of May, once we get everyone trained on how to drive them. But come on down on Saturday between 10 and 12 to see our new jitney. I got a call today from Grandma Emma's on Springfield Avenue. They've been working with the ARC of Essex County to do occupational training. And tomorrow they're having a completion ceremony. If anybody's around 11:30, you can stop by. We're going to say congratulations to the participants. And then on on April 18th, at 9 a.m., we'll be having our softball parade. It'll be in South Orange. So that'll be kicking off our softball and baseball program. All right, we're going to move now to the discussion items. Mr. Daffish, you got the proposed fees.
Yes, I do. I shared some updated fees as they relate to construction, zoning, land use, fire prevention, and rental registration. What we're doing here is updating our fees. They haven't been updated in quite some time, in keeping with our neighboring communities. And in some instances, adding fees for labor that we've sort of been giving away for free, not in keeping with the most neighboring communities. These fees are reasonable, they are equitable, but they also keep us in business and reimburse the township for the great work that it does.
Anybody have any questions? Okay. I mean, I've looked at them and they look great. So
Yep.
I think this is something we're going to encourage all of our subcommittees. You're going to be hearing from the Finance Committee urging you to take a look at the fees so that we have them in place this year so that we can incorporate that additional revenue in 2027.
And I just wanted to double check. You said that these fees, I believe when the discussion happened, these are in line with other towns?
Yes, certainly in line with our neighbor, South Orange, in line with Milburn, in line with other townships of our size. We're still a little below what Montclair charges in some instances, but we feel that these are reasonable fees.
Thank you.
Yeah. We were way below for a long time. Yeah. And none of these fees are, none of these fees create new barriers for doing business in town or for new construction as it relates to private homeowners or to commercial building. So there's no new process or new unexpected barrier. It's just for the existing process and bringing us up to date on what we charge.
Okay. Any questions? Great. Thank you very much. Next item, and you're going to introduce this at the next meeting, right?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Council Credidio. Yep.
Okay. So we have the revised Chapter 65.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So one thing that we have in our code is a chapter giving volunteer incentives. This gives certain discounts to volunteer members of the Maplewood Police or Fire Auxiliary, CERT, or the Maplewood Volunteer First Aid Squad. Members need to be active for at least a year as certified by the chief officer of the organization. These volunteer groups don't, they're not currently in existence in Maplewood. Our police auxiliary is no longer in existence. CERTs we have, but I'm not sure how active they are. So we'll have to, we could discuss that. But the purpose of me bringing this up is to focus on the South Orange Rescue Squad. We had a meeting with them recently, and we talked about they have their an anniversary coming up next year. And oh goodness, now I'm forgetting which anniversary it is. It is see if I can figure it out, but it is a big anniversary coming up next year. We would like to make the community aware of the importance that South Orange Rescue Squad plays in our community. The number they gave us was for the last year, they made 418 runs in Maplewood throughout the year. As you know, our fire department has a rescue squad that does runs. And they are oftentimes backup. If our fire is occupied, they will do runs. So what I'm proposing is as a thank you and in honor of, April is also Volunteer Appreciation Month. in honor of Voluntary Appreciation Month and as a thank you to the South Orange Rescue Squad and highlighting the important service that they do in our community, that we would add them to this ordinance. And this would give Maplewood members of the South Orange Rescue Squad, the ordinance gives these volunteer groups that are listed one half off the fee of any membership category at the Maplewood Community Pool and exempts them from the municipal portion of the fee for pet licenses and building permits on their primary residence. The pool aspect of this has been discussed in the Pool Advisory Committee, and this change to this section has been discussed in the Health and Community Services Committee, and both recommend the change. Are there any questions? No.
Sounds good to me.
Wonderful.
Okay, so we'll authorize our attorney to move forward with this?
And I think, yeah, we just add in this, this name, but we can talk.
And the next item is yours also,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor.
So the next item deals with prohibiting declared candidates for office from appearing in promotional videos on Township social media outlets within 45 days prior to an election. So this is something that we discussed in the Communications Committee. Thank you, Mayor DeLuca, for bringing it to our attention. Soma TV had an interlocal agreement, and this dates back a bit from when we had TV, and it said, quote, "No material in which a declared candidate for office is a guest or host shall be broadcast within the 45 days prior to an election." So we don't use Soma TV anymore, but we've started to do videos or reels on our social media featuring different members of the Township Committee, and this is something that I think there is a desire for us to continue and to do more of. So some examples. Miss Adams did a video at the Parker and Irvington business area and walked folks around, introducing them to different businesses down there. It's on our website. It's really well done reel. Mr. Mayor DeLuca did a video when this was last year when the library was about to open, you know, giving a little tour and some background. I did a video on the bollards that are on Prospect Street, explaining the reason for them and the safety behind it. And so this is not something that we do all the time, we do a ton of, but it would be for these sort of things if somebody was up for re-election or up for election and in the office within 45 days, they wouldn't be featured in one of these videos. This does not apply to news-oriented appearances. So, you know, if there's a Memorial Day parade and we do a video and we're all in it, that doesn't count. Ribbon cutting doesn't count. This would be specific, like, featured videos featuring one individual. So this is an attempt to take something that we had previously that was in there for a reason and apply it, modernize it, and apply it to today. Are there any questions?
And this wouldn't prohibit an individual from doing something on his or own social media. It's just with the township backing and resources, they can't be used.
Correct. Anybody can always do a video on their personal or campaign site. This would be related to using a township-paid employee to do the video and the editing and distributing that video on our township social media and webpage.
So if we had our township committee person who was doing the video work-related 45 days prior to the election and was a standing person, a candidate, right? And it was work-related, would that apply as promotional for themselves?
You mean work-related?
Let's say that was like you did the emergency snow thing and you talked about the snow, you were out there doing it. What it was, if that was 45 days prior to the election, would that be considered promotional video? How do we determine?
I think a snow emergency is a news-related item, but
So I think in those instances, that was done by me alone.
Yeah.
So that would not be covered. This is only when we do something using town resources, putting it on the town site. So if it was, I think that would be, as you say, it's a news item.
yeah.
That would be a news item. But the promo piece that Mayor Adams did on Irvington Avenue, or for example, suppose our public information officer and I went up on June 1st when the farmer's market opens up, and I did a promotion piece, and we put it on the town website the night before the election. That would not be allowed.
Okay, that's what I
But
was trying
if
to.
I wanted to go up there on June 1st and put something
Yeah,
and
that's
put it on my website or put it
That's
on
my
camp,
birthday, so I'd rather you not.
then we can do that.
So it makes sense, but then you're still a sitting, working committee person, a mayor, actively in duty.
Yes.
So where do you draw that line to say, I'm still doing my work, and it's township related, because I'm still in office?
It's where it appears. It's where it appears. It doesn't go on the township social media.
But why? But what? Yeah, go
If
ahead.
you're
Finish your
working-
inquiry.
Yeah, if you're working, why not? If you're a sitting member and working for the township, a sitting member, and you're going and doing that work at a farmer's market, you're working until the election.
So the difference is whether or not something is a news event or not, because, so when Mayor Adams did the promotional piece at the Irvington corridor, that could be done anytime.
Yeah.
There was no news element, like no news time period to it. That could be done anytime. So if that is done, it just can't be done within those 45 days. So she could do it before, she could do it after. It's just within those 45 days, you wouldn't do something that is a promotional piece that doesn't have a news element to it. So a farmer's market thing, like he could do a farmer's market promotional piece or I'm saying anybody could do it in January when nobody is within 45 days of an election. Or they could do it mid-June.
I find it, I understand exactly what you're saying, but there's a fine line between a person who is sitting committee person and still working, and, you always put something on the website and you use the township website. You're not necessarily, so I think there's a fine, I
think it's like pornography.
You know it when you see it.
You don't, you may not be able to describe
Well-
it, but you know it when you see it.
Okay, but I get it. I'm just.
I just think that this is a distinction without a distinction, right? And I don't see the conflict, ethical issue, or anything inappropriate. Let me explain. I also have concerns, and I'd like to hear from council about freedom of speech. So Deputy Mayor Malia Herman, who reminds us at every meeting, every 2 weeks, when the pool is going to open, right? She goes out to the pool on day one, and she says, she does a video, and that's appropriate because she's the pool person, right? That's one of her committees and all that good stuff. So she goes out to the pool, really excited in her manner, and she's like, I'm so excited, I'm reporting live, I've been telling you TikTok, countdown to the pool is finally open today, come on down, and we have even lower rates this year, and you're gonna have a fabulous time. End of video, okay? She puts it on her personal socials, not a problem, but she also puts it on the township Instagram to promote that the pool is open, right? So it is a newsworthy event that the pool is finally open. You're letting people know, hey, it's day one. Many people may not follow the news or what you say every township committee. So it's newsworthy, but it's also promotional. And you happen to be a candidate running for re-election, and it's within 45 days of the primary. What is inappropriate about you doing that? What is unethical?
I think the difference is if I'm using township resources to accomplish this, like if I took our communications manager out there and had her shoot
You would
the
never do
video.
that. You're doing it yourself.
Why? She did the video with me in the bollards.
Right.
But I also did my own video last year opening the pool on opening day, and I went in, it was freezing. And I posted that on my own personal.
Right, but if you post it on,
account.
the mayor said earlier, if you post it, it's where it ends up. So if you post it on the township Instagram, that's township resources, that would be inappropriate within the 45 days.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a proposed rule, but I'm trying to get under the hood a little bit and figure out like why. Where is the unethical? What's the motive? Maybe we should start.
So when we were having this conversation about doing more reels,
Yeah.
Mr. Weary asked a very good question about how do you manage that? Who gets to do the reels? So suppose, does someone just call up our public information officer and say, oh, I want to do a reel about the park. Come and do me in the park. Come and do a reel of me in the park. And why does that person have to do that? Why would that person do it? And then suppose that happened 2 weeks before the election, and said, okay, public information officer, I want to walk around the park and talk about how great the park is. And then I want you to put it on the township social media stuff. Is that appropriate?
I don't think it's inappropriate. Because I'll give you this one. So let's say I call the public information officer when we unveil the new rainbow crosswalk. And in an alternate reality, let's say we're unveiling the new crosswalk on June 1st. That is within 40. And in an alternate reality, I'm running for re-election along with you.
And if that's a ribbon cutting or a news item like that, yes, then that's appropriate.
But that's what I'm saying. Whether it's a news item is in the it's subject to it.
You know the difference taking a walk in the park and a news item.
Well, listen, I think we all could agree. I guess it's the content. It goes back to what Committeewoman Adams said, right? You know it when you see it, because it's content specific. It's not the vehicle per se, or who's doing it or who's taking it. It's really content specific, because if you're making it clear that you are campaigning during that reel, then that's inappropriate. We all agree on that. I agree on that too. But you're acting in your capacity as a member of the governing body, promoting and or informing the town of things that we're doing. And if you happen to be for re-election, I don't think that that's inappropriate. Like, you're running for re-election, you're going to come by talk to the township. Is that going to be inappropriate?
It's whether or not it's like time related, like news related, it's
I know you're
newsworthy.
creating that distinction, but I don't think it's a
No,
distinction.
but that is the distinction.
Oh, it absolutely is.
The pool opening on that
It
day,
depends on who's interpreting it.
if there's a date specific thing, there's no date specific.
But I gave you
thing on
a scenario that applies where it's also newsworthy and promotional, like the video that you do of the pool on opening day.
Right. Well, that is time specific. It is news specific.
Because it's newsworthy, it's okay, even though it's also promotional and you're within the 45 days.
I would say yes.
That's
and the same thing
of
for
lines in the sand, in my
the same
opinion.
thing for the rainbow crosswalk. We're talking about videos that can be run anytime, and if they can be run anytime, then they can be run not within those 45 days.
So let me throw this back to you with the rainbow crosswalk. Suppose we paint the rainbow crosswalk on May 15th, and that's the day we dedicated it and all that, right? Okay. And then I'm running for office on June 2nd. I come back out with the public information officer on May 25th, and I do another video about the rainbow crosswalk.
And what do you say? What's the content?
I'm saying that, I worked so hard to get this done.
Okay, that's campaigning. It's content. It's content specific.
Yeah,
I don't think it is at all.
Oh, I think it is.
Mr. Mayor, through you, if I could maybe suggest a distinction that within that period, it's a reel that features one or more members of the Township Committee who are running in an election. And I think it's the featuring distinction. So for example, if we had the Rainbow Crosswalk example, and all the members of the TC who were present were part of the reel, I think that would be fine. I think that's a fairly simple and straightforward distinction. I also think that to some extent, this is not really, I don't think it's going to be difficult in implementation, only because the members are so conscious of, not utilizing township resources for their own personal promotion.
Well, you never know. You could get somebody like Trump in here.
But I also think that it is consistent with other things that you've done in your bylaws with respect to political activity, for example, that you certainly have the right to say or do or promote anything you want on your own social media, but you've decided as a body that in connection with township resources, township events, you're going to act in a more circumscribed way. So I think that it's not necessarily a question of ethical or unethical, but it follows some of the actions you've taken in the past to circumscribe certain activities.
What about freedom of speech?
You have the right to say anything you'd like on your own social media. You don't have the right to use the township's public information officer and township social media.
We do that from these seats every time we meet. We make personal statements during our reports in response to what's happening. Sometimes those are individual. They're not in concert with the other members. They're not a proclamation or a resolution. They're individual remarks. All the time we do that.
But so
How is that different?
I think it's clearly different, right? It's not it's a TC meeting with all members present. It's not a video or a social media item that features or promotes a specific member of the TC. It is just us sharing the video of you participating in the meeting with all the other members.
Would it be helpful to have some language to debate instead of abstract?
We can work on some language.
Yeah, I think the idea was to
Get some
get some sense from the
Yeah.
committee, and then it can go back to communications and come up with something.
There you go.
Thank you.
That work?
Yes.
Did you get enough information?
I got a lot of it.
All right, let's go with the consent agenda. Deputy Mayor.
Yes. I move the consent agenda be adopted. Is there a second?
Second. Gotta work on that.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Golding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes, thank you. We're now in our second public comment period on any subject matter. Is there anyone here who would like to address the Township Committee? Seeing no one, we'll go to Zoom.
If anyone joining on Zoom would like to address the Township Committee on any topic, please raise your hand. See no hands, Mayor.
Okay, we'll close the second public comment period. Our next meeting is Tuesday, April 21st at 7:30 p.m. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Let's call the roll.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Golding? Yes. Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes, thank you very much.